For thousands of years, we've looked up at that little red dot in the night sky and just dreamed. But what's absolutely mind-blowing is that within our lifetime, someone from Earth could actually set foot on it. I'm talking, of course, about Mars. But why even go? I mean, why would we ever leave our beautiful blue planet? Let's get into it, because the answer is both a chilling warning and an incredible source of hope.
Seriously, think about that. This isn't just a Hollywood movie plot. It's a real possibility. 66 million years ago, a single rock from space completely wiped the dinosaurs off the face of the Earth. If something like that happened today, well, human civilization as we know it could be over in an instant. And that right there, that threat, is the ultimate reason why so many brilliant people agree on one thing. For humanity to survive in the long run, we have to become a multiplanetary species.
Okay, so if we need a plan B, a second home, where do we even look? Out of all the planets in our solar system, why is everybody so laser focused on Mars, the red planet? I mean, think about it. Relying on a single planet, putting all of our eggs in one basket, makes us incredibly fragile. It doesn't even have to be an asteroid. It could be a supervolcano, a global pandemic, you name it. Our only real insurance policy as a species is to expand, to have a backup. And that's not being pessimistic, it's just smart long-term planning. Now this slide really puts it into perspective. You might think Venus would be a good choice. It's right next door, about the same size as Earth, but nope. It's an absolute death trap. The surface is hot enough to melt lead, and the atmosphere is so thick it would crush you. Not to mention it's full of sulfuric acid rain. So yeah, instant death. Mars, on the other hand, well, it's no paradise, but it's at least in the realm of possibility. It's really the best option in a neighborhood of very, very bad options. And that glimmer of possibility is built on some surprisingly familiar ground. A day on Mars is almost the exact same length as ours. It has seasons, just like Earth does. You can actually walk on it, build on its solid surface, and the absolute game changer, there's water, frozen as ice at the poles and just under the ground. These things make Mars feel, well, almost like a home away from home. But let's not get carried away just yet, because imagining life on Mars is one thing. Actually surviving there, that's going to be the single greatest challenge our species has ever faced. First off, you gotta get there. And that's a 7 and 9 month journey, crammed inside a tiny capsule hurtling through empty space. And because of how the planets line up, you can only even try to launch once every 26 months. So if something goes wrong halfway there, there's no turning back, there's no rescue mission. You are completely on your own. So let's say you make it. The hatch opens, you take your first step. The first thing that hits you is the color. Everything is covered in this fine red dust. It's literally rust. You look up and the sky isn't blue, it's this eerie pale pink. And you quickly realize that in this alien world, survival is a constant minute-by-minute fight. The air itself is your first big problem. The atmosphere is so thin, it's just 1% as thick as Earth's. And the tiny bit of air that's there, it's 95% carbon dioxide. It's poison. If you took your helmet off, you'd pass out in about 15 seconds, and you'd be dead in less than 2 minutes. And then there's the cold. The average temperature on Mars is minus 60 degrees Celsius. That's colder than the absolute worst winter day in Antarctica. At night, it can drop all the way to minus 125 degrees. It gets so cold that the carbon dioxide in the air literally freezes solid and falls like snow. But maybe the scariest threat of all is the one you can't even see. See, here on Earth, we're protected by a magnetic field, like an invisible shield that deflects deadly radiation from the sun and deep space. Mars doesn't have that. It's gone. So anyone on the surface is just constantly getting blasted. To put that in perspective, 1 year on Mars exposes you to the same radiation dose as 8 years on Earth. The cancer risk is just off the charts.
Okay, so Mars is a frozen, irradiated, poisonous wasteland. Sounds like a great place to move to, right? Well, this is where the story gets really good. This is where human ingenuity kicks in and starts to solve problems that seem totally unsolvable. And the key to all of it is a concept called in situ resource utilization, or ISRU for short. It's a fancy name, I know, but the idea is actually super simple and completely revolutionary. Live off the land. We can't afford to ship everything we need all the way from Earth. To really live on Mars, we have to use what's already there. So, how do we build our first home? The plan is just brilliant, and it starts long before any human leaves Earth.
First, we send robots. They'll dig down and build our habitats underground because just a few meters of Martian dirt is the perfect shield against all that radiation. Then, giant 3D printers will use that same Martian soil to literally print the structures. So by the time the first astronauts arrive, their safe radiation-proof home is already built and waiting for them.
And that whole living off the land thing is also how we solve for the basics. We can harvest that water ice from the poles, and water is everything. You can drink it, you can use it to grow food, and you can split it into hydrogen and oxygen. Boom, you've got breathable air, and you've even got rocket fuel for the trip home. As for food, the Martian soil is toxic, so we'll build these pressurized domes and grow food without soil using techniques like hydroponics. And we know this works. NASA has already been growing vegetables on the International Space Station for years.
And then, way, way down the road, lies the ultimate dream, the science fiction dream, terraforming. The idea of actually changing Mars's whole atmosphere and climate to make it more like Earth. Now, that's a project that would take centuries, maybe even thousands of years. It's a goal not for us, but for generations we'll never even meet.
You know, surviving on Mars is a huge technical problem, but living there, that raises some really deep questions about what it even means to be human when your home planet is no longer Earth. Just try to imagine a normal day. You wake up in your underground home. Your windows are probably just high-def screens showing a live feed of the surface because a real window will let in all that deadly radiation. Anytime you go outside, it's in a bulky spacesuit. And if you want to talk to your family back on Earth, forget about video calls. The time delay means every single message takes anywhere from 3 to 22 minutes just to get there. And who makes the rules? The Outer Space Treaty says no single country can own Mars. So, as a colony grows, will it be independent? Will it create a totally new kind of government? Mars offers this incredible chance for a fresh start, a chance to build a new society without repeating all the mistakes we've made here on Earth.
And think about this. The first children born on Mars. They will be, quite literally, Martians. They'll have never known Earth's blue skies or its strong gravity. And growing up in just 38% of our gravity, their bones and their muscles will develop totally differently. Over generations, humans on Mars could physically evolve, becoming the first truly new branch of our species to arise on another world.
This all might sound like pure science fiction, but the timeline is actually surprisingly close. The goal is to land the first humans there in the 2030s, to have a permanent, established colony by the 2050s, and by the end of this century, we could see a real, self-sustaining city on Mars. And remember, it only took us 66 years to go from the very first airplane flight to landing on the moon. Human progress can happen incredibly fast.
Colonizing Mars is so much more than a science project. It's a testament to the human spirit, to our need to explore. We're the species that walked out of Africa and covered the entire globe. Crossing the solar system is really just the next step. So the next time you look up at that little red dot, remember what it represents. It's not just a destination, it's a new beginning. And you might just be alive to see a city of lights shining back at us.